The last bunch of terms you need to learn before we start working on how to actually run the power pallet are the ones the PCU uses to communicate with both you and the other components of the power pallet. In the middle of this panel is the all-important PCU display, where all the information about how your machine is running will be shown, and under which are the 4 input buttons. You're going to need to understand the shorthand messages the PCU is giving you on its display so you can know things like how to react to alarms or whether you're ready to start the engine. There's a later lesson in the advanced operations sections that will go into this in a little more detail, but for now, let's just cover the basics. If you're interested, you can also read up on the automation in the Technician's Handbook that I've provided for you to download. The PCU has a small 4-line screen with important information you need to understand. Under it are 4 buttons you can use to change what is shown on the screen and to make changes to the way the machine runs. When you first turn on the power, the display above the 4 round buttons will light up and show the software version number and serial number of your power pallet. After a few seconds, the screen will change to show the values of some of the sensors that are connected to the PCU. This image shows the values you might see when first turning on your machine when it is cool and not running. These sensors tell you, through the PCU, how different parts of the machine are working. Temperature is taken in 2 places inside the reactor, one near the combustion zone, known as the temperature at the restriction, and is shown on the first line in the upper left of the display as TRST, followed by a number, the actual temperature in degrees Celsius. The second temperature is taken right above the grate basket, known as the temperature in the reduction zone, shown on the second line as TRED, also followed by temperatures there, measured in degrees Celsius. The PCU also has sensors that measure the vacuum pressure in 3 different places. The first 2 are in the reactor, one in the combustion area, shown on the PCU display at the end of the first line as P-comb, followed by its value, and the second right on top of the reactor, shown on the second line as P-react. The third pressure sensor is on top of the filter, shown on the third line as P-filt. You will notice there is a 4th pressure number shown on the beginning of the third line as P-ratio, which is showing the difference between the reading of the P-comb sensor and the P-react sensor, and is known as the pressure ratio, which is gotten by dividing the combustion pressure with the reactor pressure. The PCU multiplies this by 100 so you can read it as a percentage. The buttons below the screen let you move through all the different screens that the PCU can show. The left button will take you to the next screen, and the second button lets you move through areas on each screen, with the 2 right-hand buttons letting you change the numbers or values on each screen. For example, this screen shows the grate shaker control of the manual section, set as it usually should be in auto. If you press the 4th button under mode, it will switch between the different ways you can set it to run. In the manual control sections, these are auto, off, and on. The display will also show a number of different alarms that the PCU has been programmed to give you when it senses that something is not working quite right. Here's an example of a typical alarm. Here are the terms used by the PCU that you should understand. Combustion temperature, temperature in the reduction zone, combustion pressure, reactor pressure, filter pressure, and pressure ratio. Now that we've covered all the terms, we've got another little quiz. Good luck with the quiz, and as before, spend all the time you need to make sure you know the meaning of these thoroughly before moving on to the next section.